Hey guys, what's up? What's up? I'm Dasho Rose here. Welcome back to another video. This is once again going to be another news-related video. As you guys know, we're getting closer to the end of the Warner Brothers bidding war. It was supposed to I think it was supposed to end on Thursday, but then I guess it got pushed back a little bit because, or at least that's what I think, because I was reading that's when it was supposed to end, because, the bidding war is kinda, going on and all that, yeah, there apparently now we got talks about Savarradia getting their hands on Warner Brothers 2 with Paramount and all that, possibly. So I'm gonna talk about that. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 1K subs. I'm over 600 subs. I do need to give you guys a reward video for that, but I just haven't really got around to doing it. Been very busy with stuff, very busy. And, also, make sure you guys are still subscribed, because YouTube's been acting kind of weird lately. And, you guys can also follow me on Instagram and, Instagram/Threads. You guys can follow me over there, and then also you guys can follow me on X, too. And, that's pretty much all I have to say. So let's go ahead and get into this interesting story here. So, yeah, as you guys know, Warner Brothers has been up for sale for quite a little bit now. There's been a few people bidding on it. There's been Paramount, there's been, Netflix, Comcast has been bidding on it. There was talk that Amazon was doing it too. I'm not sure if they were or not. If they were, they're not doing it anymore. We're down to like the 3 major ones here. And it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what happens. I'm gonna say this right now, out of all of them to buy Warner Brothers, I don't know if I want Paramount to buy Warner Brothers anymore. And it's not just a Savarradia thing, which we're gonna talk about in a second. I'm pronouncing their country wrong. I'm not gonna, it's not just about that. It's the fact that they have raised their bid up to $71 billion. That was the point where, they probably shouldn't buy it. Because, remember, Disney spent $71 billion on Fox. They spent $71 billion to buy Fox. And, they had to borrow a shit ton of money to buy that. They had to borrow a shit ton of money. They had to cut a lot of things. A lot of movies actually got cut in the process. And then, later on, they had to cut more stuff when COVID hit. I mean, they didn't know COVID was going to happen. A lot of people didn't. It was just it just happened. But, but they had to, because they borrowed so much money in the process of buying Fox, they shut down Blue Sky Studios just to, because they were having a hard time affording to keep it open. It would have made more sense to sell it off to another studio than to, I think they could have sold it to, Netflix or something, but, that's just what I'm thinking, I'm and I think that was kind of stupid of them to do that, because they kind of pissed a lot of people off doing that. But my point is that if Disney's spending $71 billion on Fox was bad enough, if Paramount spends that kind of money to buy freaking Warner Brothers, then that's a shit ton of money right there they have to spend to buy Warner Brothers. They have to buy, Warner Brothers, because and when Warner Brothers is not as big as Fox. I mean, they got a big library of movies, but I think Fox. Actually no wait, they might be a little bit. They might be about what Fox was. I don't know. They had like a. Last I checked, they had at least like over 7,000 movies, in their library, from what I could hear, which is really crazy. And that was actually, I think I looked that up back in 2022 or 2023, and they've released more movies since. But that's a lot of movies in their catalog. But if Paramount were to buy it, they would get Hanna-Barbera, they would get like, not just Hanna-Barbera, they would get, Cartoon Network, and they would get Adult Swim, and all that, and, they also already kind of have an adult, channel, too, but like I said, Disney bought out Fox. I mean, to be fair, Disney didn't really have, I mean, they had ABC Family and all that, but not all those shows were really, like, super immature, like where Comedy Central and Adult Swim and Fox were all they were really, very centered around adults. They were definitely more for adult audiences, especially Comedy Central. Comedy Central has got like South Park, which is crazy. But the thing is, though, is, we got other competitors, too, like Universal and Netflix coming in there. I don't think I would want Netflix to buy it either, because Netflix would be, like, if it all went to Netflix, there'd probably be less movies, like, on DVD, and, Warner Brothers has actually been releasing a lot of their content on DVD. Like, they've been doing that. They've been taking their stuff off the streaming platform, HBO Max, and have been, doing all that. So, that probably would mean we would get less DVDs and we'd be forced to have Netflix to watch it. I guess to be fair, though, at that point, then it wouldn't be maybe spread out as much, In a way, it'd be kind of going back to, cable in a way a little bit, have more options on there. Because right now, I mean, Netflix has got a lot of licensed stuff and all that, but having that on there would be kind of nice. Of course, though, also, Netflix tends to cancel a lot of their shows. Their shows, very, they tend to cancel it very early on and all that, and, like, a lot of shows only get 1 or 2 seasons. Like, they do not survive, So that'd be kind of a problem there. And then we got Comcast, Comcast is, would be interesting, because Comcast, again, I don't know how I feel about them buying a meter, because Comcast is already really big, and I mean, yeah, Disney bought out Fox, but I think if they bought out Warner Brothers, that would actually make them even bigger than Disney. And remember, we don't want the studios to get too big, but if they bought it, they could actually use the DC characters in their parks, and they could actually be competitors against, they could be competitors against, Disney. I mean, they're already kicking Disney's ass. I mean, they're like, their movies are, like, doing a lot better than Disney's are, like, DreamWorks and all that. Now, people have said DreamWorks has kind of fallen a little bit, but their movies are still doing a lot better than, freaking Disney's. They're actually giving proper villains and all that in their movies and all that, and then, you got them having Illumination and all that, too, in there. Which I don't know if they actually own Illumination or not, or if that's just partnered up with them. I think they might actually own Illumination, though. I think they own it. But that would be a very interesting thing, too, for them to buy that up. But yeah, if they could actually, if they could actually, buy that up, that'd be interesting, too. But yeah, I really don't want any of the studios to buy any of this. Like, I kind of wish Warner Brothers could just be separate, but we're in a world right now where, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen, but I don't know. I would say out of all of these, I would say I don't know. I would probably say maybe Universal would probably be the better one to buy it. You know, if I were to say, I mean, like I said, I don't want any of them to buy it. I'm just saying, like, if I had to choose, I would say Universal. Yeah, it would make them a lot bigger. And we know kind of what happened with Disney when they got bigger. They kind of became kind of unstoppable and kind of screwed many people over. I mean, their empire is falling now, but, you know, I'm just saying, you know, I think it'd be better if they bought it, you know, because, you know, then they would have the DC, you know, because I think they're on a license agreement right now with, you know, with, you know, with, the, you know, Disney and all that, with, like, Marvel stuff, because they got Marvel rides in, you know, their parks. You know, so having that in there would be interesting, too. But, yeah, I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. But I want to get back to the Cyber thing, because, you guys might be thinking, too, like, why is this in there, if there's only 3? Well, that is because I was going to talk about, Paramount, because Paramount is already bidding $71 billion on it. And, they're now trying to rely on a whole nother country to buy it. They're going to borrow a bunch of, or help with a bunch of money to buy it. And I'm just like, I don't know, I mean, it's not technically illegal to do that, but I'm like, number one, I'm like, if you guys are so desperate, you guys need to borrow money to help pay for it, like, if you guys are trying to raise your money more to buy it, because, I mean, you guys are already spending $71 billion, which, I mean, you can say that could be their limit, and they would still have money left over to pay for the stuff. But I'm like, if you guys are already paying $71 billion for it, I'm like, that's a lot of money. That is a freaking ton of money to buy it. And then the second thing is with you know, with this is, I'm like, this is a whole nother country. So if they were kind of getting involved with it, would they get their fair share of some stuff? Because that could make things, you know, I mean, it's already kind of difficult, you know, with things costing the way they are. It's kind of difficult to be paying for crap across seas anyway. But also, I'm like, again, it's cyber radio. Like, I've heard stories that they are very strict on stuff. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be strict as much up here, but I'm just saying, like, if they kind of got their hands on it, too, I'm like... Now, I've heard people saying that they've made some good content in the past, but also, again, they be very strict on some stuff. And, what people are afraid of, too, is, they would be probably, getting rid of, like, the LGBTQ stuff and, you know, the films and shows, which, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I think they push this shit too far, you know? I mean, there's shows like Adventure Time, which I'm perfectly fine with Marceline and Bubblegum being a thing. Some people think it could be forced in there, but no, I think they built the relationship up really well throughout the series. You can tell they had a thing going on early on in the show. They didn't really share their kiss until, like, the final episode. I think because they were planning on ending the show anyway, so they decided to just throw it in the last episode. Not realizing that they were actually gonna get stuff after it too, because it was apparently continue on afterwards. I mean, we got Fiona and Cake, you know, which, you know, also has, you know, the male versions of them, you know, being, you know, that too. So they're like, you know, lesbians and all. And we got Steven Universe doing the same thing, which a lot of people actually say they don't really like Steven Universe. You know, and then people just cannot stand the show and for that kind of stuff. I don't know, I'm like, okay, I didn't mind the show. I actually liked the show. I guess maybe it could be, you know, stuff that's behind the scenes or something. I don't know, like, because the creator, Rebecca Sugar, I think they said she said some things and all that, or something like that, kind of didn't make any sense or this or that, but, like, I mean, I didn't mind, having that in the show. You know, my thing with the show was I didn't like that there wasn't really any villains in the show. There was not any villains. But, that was just kind of me, but I didn't mind the show. Now, where this shit really pissed me off when they did this is Velma from Scooby-Doo. Because apparently in modern Scooby-Doo, Velma is a fucking lesbian. And that's where I'm like, she was never a lesbian. She was never a lesbian. I always looked at her as a nerd, I mean, they tried to experiment with her character a little bit by making her in love with Shaggy and all that. But, like, I never really saw her as a lesbian. I never did. Now, Daphne and Fred, I saw them as a couple, even the original show, I mean, they were always, they never hinted at it in the original show, but Fred was all, well, not really, they didn't really show it. I mean, they didn't show their emotions with each other, but they did, like, always pair them up together and all that. Like, Daphne always, went with Fred. She always went with Fred, and all that, when they split up. I'm trying to think if there was any times in the original show where they actually didn't do that. Because he would even have Velma go with Shaggy, He would have Velma go with Shaggy. So I'm like, again, I'm like, that stuff I can kind of understand. I don't get why Velma's a lesbian, but that's kind of the stuff I don't like when they force it in there or change it out of a character that never really hinted at them having that kind of stuff in the first place, And I mean, again, Adventure Time, you can say Adventure Time. They didn't really hint at it like in the first couple seasons of Adventure Time. But you could tell, like, that they actually liked each other and all that, because, they could tell that, that, because they were, like, they were together in the earlier seasons, but once you got the screen time focused more on them and not really Finn, you can tell that they definitely liked each other. But that's the thing, too. If Cyber Radio were to buy that, or get their hands on it with Paramount, that shit probably would be gone. It probably would be gone, and I'm just like, I mean, again, I don't agree with them forcing it, down people's throats, like changing characters up and off for no reason, but I don't think it's a problem to have it in the stuff, in films and movies at times, just not all the time. Like, it doesn't need to be in every show and, movie, even the new Harley Quinn show, apparently, her and, I think, Ivy, I believe, are, lesbians too, I'm just like, again, I don't really care for that a lot, but But I'm just saying, like, I don't agree with people either saying that like, it. I don't agree with people saying, it affects people, like, children and all that. Like, this stuff's been around forever, it's been around forever. Hell, one of the first Mario games has Birdo as part of the LGBTQ characters. Birdo. I mean, yeah, eventually they did change her gender to female, but, in the original game, the sequel to New Super Mario, sorry, not new, I mean Super Mario Brothers, the second one, which, there was like two different versions, because for some reason Nintendo, I guess, thought the other game was too hard for us, which, I mean, I hear it's hard, but I hear it's, like, frustrating hard, like, it's not hard fun, it's, like, frustrating hard, but yeah, basically, though, Super Mario Brothers 2, they have a character in there named Birdo. And apparently, it's a boy who thinks he's a girl or something. So, yeah, there's stuff like that. So, it's been around for a long time, and that's the thing, people did not have a problem with it back then. It's just people are having a problem with it now, because, again, it's overdone itself and it's being shoved down people's throats. Like I said, it's not affecting kids' brains. It's basically just it's just people are tired of their characters getting ruined or something, or being changed for absolutely no reason, because of this stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It's basically one of those topics that's very split on people. I'm in the middle. Like, I can kind of see it on both sides. Like, yes, I think it's overdone, but I don't think they should completely remove it, either. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's even like that, I said that quote with the Lightyear movie about, like, Dog Man, I think, was his name Dog Man or something? I think that's what his name was, right? Dog Man? Was his name Dog Man? No, it wasn't Dog Man. That's the movie in DreamWorks. I don't remember. Oh, it was Snoop Dogg. Yeah, Snoop Dogg. That's what his name was. Snoop Dogg took, like, his grandkids to see Lightyear, and he's like, having a conversation with his kids because they're asking questions about why are these two lesbians together? Like, how does that work? And all that. And I'm just like, how does that work? And I'm just like, I'm like, like you shouldn't be like I said, it's just like, it's nothing, it's no different than having, a female and a male date, together. It's nothing different. Like, if your kids are so curious of asking questions, I'm like that, and I'm just like maybe they should just wait till they're, tell their kids, I'm gonna wait till you're older or something. But I mean, to be fair, then you're like, well, why take your little kids to a movie to go see it? But then I'm like, then your kids probably shouldn't be seeing, like, any of these shows and movies, because a lot of them have freaking couples, and, I don't know, like I said, it's basically in the air right now. I do think in the future this stuff's gonna die, but right now we're in a time period where people are very, like, back and forth on it, and it's probably gonna last for quite a long time, but, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, but that's kind of the thing, though. But, yeah, I'm gonna get back to this, but I was just telling you guys kind of what Warner Brothers kind of has done with some of the stuff, and kind of what Disney's done, too, but, yeah, but anywho, the whole cyber radio thing, yeah, like I said, they are very sensitive on what you can and can't do. For some reason, women have to be covered, too, which I'm just like, if that's the case, and how do people make love? Don't people, I guess you can fall in love with somebody with, a personality, like, with their personality, but a lot of people are attracted to people by how they look, it's kind of, how humans work, it's kind of weird, but, to say it like that, but it's true. I'm like, if you're making your women, like, cover themselves up and all that, then, like, how are you supposed to, like, how are they supposed to, like, date and all that? I don't know. But I have heard it is very strict up there. I don't know about them, but I know North Korea, them in North Korea are very strict. North Korea, actually, I've been hearing their empire is falling, which I'm like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that North Korea would be like that. If that's the case, like I said, I don't know, because people keep saying different stuff about different countries, and, like, some people say stuff about our country, which it isn't always true either, but I'm just saying, like, if that's true, and all what they're saying about North Korea, and I'm like, it would make sense why their empire is falling, because, the king there, he's trying to, like, he has very, very strict laws. If you don't follow them, you'll either get arrested, or you'll get or you'll get executed, and then I'm like, eventually your empire will fall, because, like, you can, basically, if your people refuse, you can execute them, but then you're, like, how are you going to rule anything if you don't have any citizens to rule? And from what I can hear, is he's trying to get people to have more kids and all that. But again, I'm like, they're going to do the exact same thing. Now, maybe you could say, well, maybe they might be raised differently, than what their parents were. But again, like, eventually everybody's gonna snap. Like, you can't just control people, you can't just do that. Like, that's that's what's happening there, and that's what I'm saying, like, you don't want to do all that, but Cyber Radio, I haven't really heard about their place, collapsing, but I have heard they are very strict. So I'm just saying that's another reason why I don't want Warner Brothers to be bought by them, to be partially owned by them, because they're not only another country, and Paramount has already offered $71 billion for it, and now wants to rely on another country to help them with that. But also, again, they can be kind of strict too, so you might have, more sensitive, content, And that's what I've been trying to tell people. Like, you gotta be careful what you say, because I'm like, because they can make TV too safe, and that's kind of the problem there. But, yeah, I don't know. But, like I've said, I would say, out of all of them, out of all three, I would say I would like Comcast to be the one to buy them. Now, I don't know who's gonna buy them, but I definitely wouldn't want Paramount to buy them, because that would cost a lot of money, and Paramount just had their merger with Skydance, because Skydance just bought them out. So I'm like, I don't know if I would want that to happen. But yeah, I don't know. But, but the thing is, too, also, what I can hear, too, is the president, President Trump, he's actually a huge fan of the people running, Paramount. He's the huge, he really likes the guys running Paramount. So, he would want them to be bought out. However, though, I don't know, like, again, it wouldn't be up to the president on who would be buying Warner Bros. That would be all up to, David Lasley. That'd be the guy who, and it sounds like, because David Lasley has turned the deal off a few times. That's why they're trying to, get money and all that. They're trying to get up there, because they're trying to, get them to buy Warner Brothers and all that, Like, they're trying to give them as much money as they can so they can bribe them. But I don't know. I don't know if David Lasley will do that or not. He might just be like, that, or he may just end up just having... But, I mean, the thing is, I guess if it's a bidding war, though, wouldn't it be forced to go to, like, the person who bids the highest? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Again, David Lasley, like I said, turned down the offer the first time, and at that time I think they were offering like $40-something billion. That's why it went up. So it went up, but yeah, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be an interesting story. But I don't know, Paramount may end up with Warner Brothers because of how much money they might end up investing in it, especially with the help of another country. But also, we gotta remember that also Comcast has got a shit ton of money too, because they that not only they're making bank at their parks, but also a lot of their movies are doing really well, and also they got that $10 billion from freaking Disney for buying Hulu, which still is stupid of Disney to do that. I still think that was stupid of them, to do that. So they're sitting on a bunch of money too. They could probably end up acquiring them. That could be something they could end up doing, just acquiring, Warner Brothers. But I don't know. I do know, from what I can hear, what I heard too is, which is not surprising to everybody either about Warner Brothers, is David Lasley was, they flat out admitted that he was put in there just so he could, like, sell the company off. That's what they did. They flat out admitted that. But yeah, they flat out basically admitted that they are doing that. They're purposely, they purposely had him in there just to, like, buy him out, which basically does not surprise me. However, it is basically very selfish because, and all that, and And I'm just like, at this point, why didn't you guys just fucking sell the shit in the first place? That would have made a lot more sense, but I don't know. I really do not know. But yeah, I don't know what that you know what that happened. I mean, I don't know what would have happened there, but that's kind of just the thing, though. But that's pretty much what's happening to Warner Brothers right now. We're getting into a bidding war, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be surprised if Disney ends up next, because Disney is not making bank on anything either. Disney is actually been losing money too. I mean, so some of their movies have been making bank, like their live-action Lilo and Stitch movie and Moana 2 made bank. But also, those movies were also hated. A lot of people are hating a lot of their movies that they've been making. So even though their movies are making some bank, a lot of people are hating a lot of them. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, again, if Disney gets sold off, too. Now, due to Disney being a lot bigger, though, and with Fox under their belt, it'd be a lot harder for them to be bought out. Like, let's say if Paramount did end up buying Warner Brothers, they would not be able to buy Disney, because Disney is way too big for them to buy. They wouldn't be able to buy them. They wouldn't be able to buy them and all that, but somebody else, I guess maybe like Netflix or somebody could. But I don't know. But I'm gonna probably go ahead and actually let the video go from now. Because this is pretty much all I have to say at this week. I mean, we don't know yet who's going to end up with Warner Brothers, but I'm just saying it's getting very spicy here and very intensing on who's gonna get it. Like I told you guys, I don't want anybody to buy it. I think it'd be better if they just stayed a separate company. But we can clearly see that's not working too well for them. Especially putting David Lasley in there just to destroy the shit. That's not helping either. But I'm gonna probably let the video go, but I will try to make an update video when the acquisitions are done and the bidding war is done, and they end up, and then we see who actually gets it. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna either be Comcast, or it might be Comcast or Warner or Comcast or Paramount that might actually buy it. But we'll have to see. But anywho, see you guys later. Bye bye.